Hey guys, and welcome to today's Coffee and Christ. I hope you all are doing well. I know I already drank my coffee. I woke up early. Today was my son's very first day of kindergarten, which was great, but it meant waking up earlier than what I've been doing here lately, so I already have consumed all
And
my coffee.
saw, this is awesome. I saw, like, he's held up a little thing that described who he was, and at the
Oh,
bottom
yeah.
it says, what do you want to grow up to be? It said a police officer.
Oh, no. Well, that's one of the 30 jobs I've heard him say.
Oh,
that he
well,
wants
that's
to
the
be.
one that was written on
He's
that.
going to be busy.
Yeah, he's going to.
Oh, my. You know, before we turn this thing on, we were talking a little bit about Mythbusters. I don't know if you guys have seen that show or not. I kind of like it. It's kind of unique, kind of a little bit different. There are these two guys who examine common myths to see if there's any validity to them. Yep. And they have way too much time and way too much money on it because they're able to buy all these different things and blow things up. There's almost always fire on that show. I guess that's one of the reasons I like it. But they continually check and see, hey, are these myths real? Are they confirmed, or are they busted? Mm-hmm. You know, there's one myth that we have a tendency to buy into when it comes to family. You know, we're in the midst of our Family Emphasis Month. We've been talking about family for the last couple of weeks, and we've still got a couple of weeks to go. Mm-hmm. So we hope it's been of benefit to you, and we are looking forward to talking some more about our families. Amen. But there's one myth we have a tendency to buy into, and that's, it's just me, or I'm the only one, or I'm alone. Generally, what ends up happening, follow me if you can relate to this, you got your phone out, you're flipping through your Facebook feed or your Instagram feed, looking at your Snapchat stories, and you see a picture. It's a picture of one of your friends and their family. They look perfect. They all have matching shirts, matching pants, matching outfits.
The
they
beaches
all have,
of Hawaii,
exactly.
Everything's great.
Yeah, all dressed in white. Perfect smiles. All have perfect teeth somehow.
Yes.
They're just doing great. Their kids are perfectly behaved all the time. Everything is perfect. They have the perfect family.
Uh-oh.
Then there begins to be this little voice in your head, well, you're not perfect. Your family's not perfect. What about that time when your kids, they're good kids, but you get the idea. And we get this wonderful little merry-go-round of self-talk of that our family's just, we don't quite measure up.
Can you see the comparison with the mom on the phone? She's looking at that picture of the perfect family, and then she looks around, and there's the mess, and the kids are running around crazy, and little Billy is pulling Susie's hair, and she's going, yeah, this is great.
Yep. And it's all too relatable. We all have done it at some point. Mm-hmm. Challenge is that's just simply a lie.
It is a lie.
It's one of the lies Satan tries to tell us, that we're all by ourselves, that we don't measure up. Mm-hmm. And the reality is it's a lie that we tell ourselves as well. Because the reality is what we're doing is we're comparing our not so great moments to somebody else's perceived awesome moments. Yeah. You know, the reality is that social media has created a place where we can make things appear differently than they really are. And generally we try and make them appear like they're better than they really are. And so we're taking our real life, down in the dirt, challenging moments and comparing them with somebody else's carefully scripted, carefully photoshopped, perfect moments. And it's not a fair comparison. Nope. And the reality is, if we're honest, we really don't actually want to be like other people. I really don't want to be like you, and I don't want you to be like me, because that would be boring. The reality is we want to be ourselves. We want to be the people God created us to be. And the same is true of our families. We need to be the families that God created us to be. So rather than looking around and going, I wish I could measure up like them, realize that you're not by yourself. You're not alone. We're actually all in the same boat. See, we all fail, whether we would like to or not. We all fail. We're all going to hurt people in our family. We're all going to mess up our kids in some way or shape, form, or fashion. Yep. Now, that's not an excuse. It's not an escape route. It's not meant to be an excuse that you use to justify not striving to do your best. But sometimes, I should say the reality is that try as we might, because we're human, we're going to fail. Which some of you may have a little bit of a twinge right now because you would like to be perfect. But there's also a little bit of release associated with it as well. Mm-hmm. Because some of us are wound so tight, we can't make a mistake. What will this do to my kids? And I understand we want to do our best. We all want to strive to do our best. But when we realize and we accept the reality that we will all fail at some points, there can be a sense of a little bit of a weight lifted because you're going to fail. You're going to fail at some points. But that's where Christ comes in, because where we fail, he does not. And so we point our kids, we point our families towards Christ, because he is able to come through where we maybe not quite so much.
Yep.
Before we got on, we were talking about the idea of a canoe trip.
Mm-hmm. You made me laugh.
I take a group canoeing every year, and we go on a relatively calm river because I have a lot of beginners who come with us. And it's kind of a fun thing to watch, because inevitably what happens is we start to go down the river like this. I got two new people, they're paddling against each other, and they're just spiraling down the river. It's great. It's awesome to watch. They're trying to figure it out. And some people are tipping people, some people are flipping their own canoes because they're so busy laughing at what's taking place that they don't see things. Bloop. It's great. It's kind of what happens in life. And we have to be careful, because at times we become so focused on our paddling that we don't bother to look at where we're going. Mm-hmm. Or we get so focused upon looking at somebody else and watching what they're doing that we don't consider our own canoe. Mm-hmm. At times, we even start to tear other people down. Sometimes because of our own insecurities, we lash out at other families. Don't do that. There's enough things pulling at other families.
And the beginner canoers, they're so embarrassed anyway because they're with a group of folks that they then look around and go, look, they've got their stuff together, but we don't know what we're doing, and they start doing this. And so then the beginners get all twirled up inside of themselves too and embarrassed.
Yep.
And there's a lot of beginner families out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So rather than criticizing, encourage. Because I've seen a look on new canoe people's faces, new canoers' faces, as they're frustrated, it hasn't been a great day, and a word of encouragement, and all of a sudden, things are a little bit better. Yep. You are not alone. Despite the times whenever you may feel like you are, despite the times whenever you may, in your head, tell yourselves we just don't measure up, you do measure up.
Ecclesiastes 4.
Yeah. The idea that rather than sectioning ourselves off, rather than pulling away, we need to be engaged with other families. We need to support one another, because if not, there's nobody else to support us whenever we fall down. So today, rather than comparing yourself to all the other families, instead, be thankful for what you have and encourage the families that are around you. And realize that where you fail, Christ does not. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you and give you strength.